Everyone, welcome back to a new post today, and let's continue with the most important points for July 3rd with regard to your UPSC prelim examination. And the very first issue that we have is regard to a verdict of the Supreme Court. It is called as the M.K. Ranjit Singh verdict of the Supreme Court on climate change. Now, this judgment is related to climate change that was delivered by Supreme Court in the case of M.K. Ranjit Singh versus the Union of India. The choice here had to be made between the promotion of solar power and also protection of an endangered species called as the Great Indian Bustard because of the dwindling numbers of the species as they come into contact with the power lines and their death. So in this case, the Supreme Court solved an ethical dilemma where it decided both, so promotion of renewable energy, that is solar power, and also protection of the endangered species of the Great Indian Bustard. Now, it delivered the interim. Now, the Supreme Court was hearing a case with regard to protection and recovery of the Great Indian Bustard, which are very few in number and only located in Rajasthan and Gujarat, and also directions for installation of bird diverters and also immediate embargo on the sanction of new projects and renewing of leases to the existing projects. Now, the court delivered an interim order in this regard which imposed restrictions on the setting up of a transition lines with regard to electricity in the Rajasthan region. And with regard to this case is very important because it is being taken as court said that renewable energy is important as much as protection of the Great Indian Bustard as well, and said that right to healthy environment and right to be free from adverse effects of climate change is a part of Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. The court also, in the light of various directions in the MC Mehta versus Kamal Nath, directed that the right to clean environment comes within the ambit of Article 21 of the Constitution and which is threatened by climate change. Additionally, it noted right to equality, which was violated as climate change will affect poor people and vulnerable sections more than others. Therefore, the Supreme Court for the first time recognized right to healthy environment and also to be free from the adverse effects of climate change. And it is on this basis that there is an analysis and also a discussion going around that India should bring about a law on climate change. So this is with regard to the M.K. Singh verdict. And the most important other issue is about Prime Minister Narendra Modi being on his visit to Russia and discussions on a corridor which is very important. It's called as the International North-South Transport Corridor. Now, this is a multimodal transportation corridor and it was launched in 2000 in St. Petersburg by Russia, Iran and India for the purpose of promoting transportation cooperation between the member states, and the corridor connects the Indian Ocean, the Persian Gulf to the Caspian Sea, via the Islamic Republic of Iran and then connected to St. Petersburg and also the Northern European and Russian Federation as well. The International North-South Transport Corridor is a collection of different modes of transportation like rail, road and air, and also waterways, and connects 11 new members, that's Azerbaijan, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkey, Ukraine, Belarus, Oman, Syria and Bulgaria. And we have Kachativu. Now, Kachativu was a part of the Indian territory, but it was ceded in 1976 to Sri Lanka under the maritime agreement between India and Sri Lanka that drew the maritime boundary between India and Sri Lanka. However, the location of the Kachativu is between the Jaffna Peninsula in the north and Rameshwaram of Tamil Nadu in the south here. So this is a small strip of land where except for a church you do not have anything, and prohibits the fishermen of both the country to use the island. However, they can use the place to dry their nets. Now, since 1921, the rulers of both India and Sri Lanka, Ceylon was a British colony had stake claim to the fishing rights over the waters in Kachativu. But in 1974, the dispute ended with the maritime agreement between India and Sri Lanka, and India relinquished the claim over the island. 2 years later, India and Sri Lanka agreed that it prevented people from both the countries from fishing in the waters belonging to each other. So the next most important is about the SCO. So we had Jaishankar, who's going to represent India at SCO. It was called as Shanghai 5, and it is a successor to the Shanghai 5, which was established in 1996 between China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia and Tajikistan. It is a Eurasian political, economic and international security organization, defense organization established by China and Russia in 2001, and it is the world's largest regional organization in terms of geographical scope and population, covering approximately 80% of Eurasia and 40% of the world population. And in 2017 it expanded to 8 states with India and Pakistan. Iran joined the group in 2023, Belarus in 2024. So it is governed by the heads of the State Council, which is a supreme decision making body which meets once a year, and it contains the famous regional anti-terrorist structure as well, also called as the RATS. And the next most important is about the Code of Criminal Procedure. So we have the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita replacing it. So how exactly this Code of Criminal Procedure came into being? The British started this by passing the Regulating Act of 1773, under which a Supreme Court was established in Calcutta and later on in Madras and Bombay. The Supreme Court was to apply the British procedural law while deciding the cases on the Crown's subjects. After the rebellion of 1857, the Crown took over the administration of India. The Indian Penal Code of 1861 was passed by the British Parliament. CRPC therefore was created for the very first time in 1882. And then amended in 1898, and now we have the 40, and also now we have it being replaced by the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. And Indian Penal Code now was first prepared by the First Law Commission, which was chaired by Thomas Macaulay in 1834, and it was submitted to the Governor General of Council in 1835 based on a simplified codification of the law of England. Elements were derived from the Napoleonic Code and also the Louisiana Civil Code of 1825. So this the drafting was completed in 1850, and the code took the present shape in 1856. However, it underwent many changes and came into force in 1862. Macaulay, who drafted the code, did not see the implementation of it because he passed away in 1859, and the code came into force in Jammu and Kashmir in 2019 after Jammu and Kashmir became a union territory, and it replaced the state's Ranbir Penal Code. So in August 2023, we had the Indian bill introduced in the Parliament to replace the Indian Penal Code by the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. And the next most important issue is with regard to Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft project. Now this is a single seat twin engine all-weather 5th generation stealth multi-role combat aircraft developed by the Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy. The Mark 1 variant of the aircraft being a 5th generation fighter, while the Mark II variant will have a 6th generation technology. The aircraft is designed by the Aeronautical Development Agency, an aircraft design agency under Ministry of Defence. A special purpose vehicle consisting of Aeronautical Development Agency HAL and a private committee is being formed to develop the production of this advanced medium combat aircraft project. And in 2024, the project was given approval by India's Cabinet Committee on Security for prototype development, and it is a single-seated twin-engine combat aircraft. Combat means those forces who go into actual war or fighting, and the Mark 1 will be equipped with the 5th generation technology, and Mark 2 will have 6th generation technologies. The AMCA is a platform with a multitude of missions for air supremacy, ground strikes, suppression of the enemy air defenses, electronic warfare, etc. And it is going to replace the Sukhoi or the multi-combat aircraft fighter jet, which forms the backbone of the Indian Air Forces in India. And the next is about 5th general fighter aircraft, which I just discussed. Under this, now there are certain special features of this 5th generation fighter aircraft. First of all, it is a twin engine aircraft which will be much bigger than the other fighters in the Indian Air Force, and it will have advanced stealth facilities to avoid detection by the enemy radar. After that, the aircraft will have a large concealed internal fuel tank and also an internal weapons bay for a range of weapons, including indigenous weapons, and it will have a US built GE 414 engine of 90 kilonewton, I'm sorry, while a more advanced Mk2 will fly on a more powerful 110 kilonewton of engine, which will be developed by DRDO. And it is also, the discussions for this started way back in 2007. The plan was initially to develop an aircraft with the Russian under the 5th generation fighter aircraft program. However, India withdrew from this program in 2018, and now the AMCA will be indigenously developed 5th general fighter aircraft. The indigenous light combat aircraft Tejas is a 4.5 generation single engine multi-role aircraft and now is being used in the Indian Air Forces. So these are the few points that I thought I should be discussing with you for your June 3rd important points for preliminary examination of UPSC 2025. If you did, please do like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to comment at the end of the video, and I shall see you with another new list. Until then, it's very happy learning.